Hello friends, welcome back to the studio. I'm Beatrice Fideli. What if I was going to tell you that with one little tube of paint, you could change the way that the other colors look, that out of one, you can make many other colors, and that your colors will still look beautiful, transparent, and translucent. Is that a thing exist? Yes, it is. It is called neutral tint. And into this video, I'm gonna let you in on all the secrets. So let's get started. What we have here is one of the most mysterious and often misunderstood colors in the painting world, which it is neutral tint. It's a color that many painters either ignore completely, they're not in the radar, they don't even own it, or they use it only as a dull gray to paint by itself. If you know how to use it properly, this humble color can completely transform your palette and the way that you mix your paint. Not to mention that by using the colors that you already own and mixing it with neutral tint, you can create a whole range of colors, saving you tons of money. And it will help you avoid one of the biggest mistakes the beginners make, which it is creating muddy or dull shadows. It is specifically made to blend beautifully with any watercolor pigment that you already have in your palette, creating a whole new range of colors. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about neutral tint, probably one of the most misunderstood colors there in the market, and one of the best kept secrets by professional artists. This is a color that beginners don't know how to use. They usually either ignore it, completely ignore it, or they use it as a dull gray. But the magic of this color is when we blend it with other colors. And I'm going to show you today in this demonstration the magic that you can unleash by using. I have it in two very good brands. As you can see, the one that I use the most is the Schmincke, and I got the Daniel Smith too. I'm gonna try both to see if it is a difference between them, because funny enough, sometimes depending on the brand, the same color can look differently. Why? Well, I don't know. I guess they use different mixes or they add something different. I don't know, but it is funny how you had to sometimes try it or learn it from a video, so you don't have to spend all your money into different tubes to find out which one you like more, or if they are the same, because it could pretty well be that they are the same. I've been using this one, but this is the first time that I'm going to be using my Daniel Smith. So let's see. We're going to compare these two and see if they are the same or if they are a little bit different. So we're going to start with the Schmincke Neutral Tint, which I have it here. We're going to start by going from dark to light. As you can see, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous color by itself. It's very useful to do for shadows or for underpaintings, and it has a hint of a warm on it. I will consider this more of the warm grays, because I don't know if you can, if it shows, but has a hint of like a purplish undertone. All right, this is the Schmincke. So now let's go with the neutral tint by, ooh, look at this. This is by Daniel Smith. Oh my goodness. Daniel Smith has a good offer, and it's a reputable brand, which is what happens to me. And look at this. It's like painting. Let me go darker here. This is like having two different paints. Unbelievable. So look at this side by side. It's unbelievably. I mean, this one obviously is more on the cool side. So it has more of a black undertone, and this is more warm. So I'm looking here like this. I'm looking at the pigmentation, and this one, this is the Schmincke, so that has a red, pigment red 122, a pigment blue 60, and a pigment black 7. And Daniel Smith says that it's made, oops, the wrong way. That is made with a pigment black 6. That's already a different one. Quinacridone Violet, PB Violet 19, that wasn't in the other one. and a blue that it was a pigment blue 15, which was different, completely different than the other one. Now, why do the manufacturers get away with being able to make two different pigments by using different colors and yet name it the same way? I don't know why, it should be illegal, but because it's a frustration for us consumers. Yes, technically you could take the time before buying it and look at every single one of them and see what pigment they're made of, but do I do it? Do you have the time to do that every time you buy one? No, so shame on them. Anyway, we're gonna, for our demonstration, we're gonna be using the Schmincke one, since it's the one that I'm more familiar with. So as you can see, neutral tint is a lovely color by itself. It's beautiful to make shadows or underpaintings. And as you can see, it has a good range from dark to light. But neutral tint superpower, what it really shines, is how it transforms other colors, making completely new shades of colors without losing the transparency or the vibrancy of them. So for today, we're gonna use kind of like a triad of primary colors. I'm gonna use magenta instead of red, the Hansa Yellow Light for the yellow, and the French Ultramarine as a blue. And I also want to show you how it transforms the burnt sienna, because burnt sienna is kind of like a staple to do shadow colors or grays. So let's see how these four colors plus neutral tint will give us this huge range of colors without having to buy any more paint. So let's start with my favorite color, which it is one of my favorite colors in the blue side, which is the French Ultramarine. This is a beautiful color. It granulates if you wanted to, and it's great for mixing colors with it too as well. You can make beautiful grays. You can also, if you mix it with reds, you can have very bright magentas and pinks and etc. So this is French Ultramarine by itself. Let me put a little bit here so that you can see a range of darker. Then this corner too lighter as it goes over. Now, watch what happens when I mix it with our neutral tint. I add some neutral tint. I'm gonna try to do a mix of 50-50, same amount of neutral tint as blue. The result is a much deeper. It already looks like completely two different colors without, most importantly, without this color looking dull or losing the luminosity or the transparency. But if I add more blue, let me rinse my brush. If I add more blue to this mix, I could have a different kind of color, as you can see. And if I get more of the, in contrast, if I get more of the neutral tint to the mix, I can create almost like a indigo or Payne's gray, just like that. And in between these, with the darker, the one with the more blue, and everything in between, I can have a huge range of colors just by utilizing two tubes of color French Ultramarine and neutral tint. Next, let's try Magenta by Schmincke. This is a color that is perfect. We're trying it here by itself without any mixes. This color is perfect to do flower petals. I love that. They come very bright, as you can see, and transparent. But when mixed with neutral tint, now this is a neutral tint and magenta and same amount of one or the other. Look how it transforms into a more muted version of it, perfect for the same shades of the same flowers. To this mix, I keep adding more neutral tint. So now, look at that. I keep getting this kind of like burgundy darks. What happens if to this I add more magenta? Well, let's see what happens if now to the 50-50 mix, I bring more magenta. Look at that. Oh my God, this is really gorgeous. Here alone, I already have like 3 different tubes of paint, 4 if you count the original. not to mention all the range. They go from lighter, and we can do like a little bit more of a blending here. And we can do a little bit more of a blending here too, so you can see it better, especially as it dries. Gorgeous. And now to finish our triad, our three, the last one of our primary colors, here is the Hansa Yellow Light. Again, this is a very versatile color that you can use as the primary because it's a green, as a yellow, that it can make beautiful greens, or it can be mixed with reds as well because it's neutral. It doesn't lean to the blues or to the reds like maybe Indian yellow does. So beautiful color by itself. And now vibrant as always. Now let's see what happens when we mix it. We now see what happens once we mix it, like about the same amount of 50-50. It's already muting it a little bit. Perfect if you were gonna make a shadow. But let's see what happens as we keep adding more neutral tint to the mix. It turns into almost like an olive. It gives it kind of like an olive tint. Perfect for like fall colors, like the season that we are in right now. And let's see what happens if we make it even darker. I add in even more of the neutral tint to it. It almost turns into an olive green. Again, this will be perfect for this season right now to make transitions between leaves. Or to this mix, let's just add more yellow, but not completely. Look at that. Look at these ranges of look at this range of colors. Just gorgeous. And like I said, perfect. This is almost like a green, like a light green. You could make this reminds me a little bit of gold green that I own in my tube because it's convenient, but you could make it, like I said, you could make it here by mixing these two colors. So let's go from light to dark to darkest. Look at all those with two tubes of paint. Look at all this range. And now let me show you how it interacts with one of my favorite colors, which is burnt sienna. In burnt sienna, it happens the same thing as it happens with a neutral tint before. Depending on the manufacturer, there are different colors. I love, and this is the one from Winsor & Newton. That's the one that I buy exclusively because it's a kind of neutral brown that leans a little bit more on the orange, as you can see here. And it makes for great, it's a great color by itself, but it makes you mix wonderfully with French ultramarine to make great grays. And also it's great to make different shades of browns or shadows, like I say. Let me show you how it works, and because this is such a good one to do with, this one can substitute a lot of other tubes. I'm gonna use different squares just for this one. As you can see, this neutral tint is gorgeous with all the colors. So far we only been trying the primary colors, but with the burnt sienna, I find that it saves me most of the paint tubes that I could buy. Here is neutral tint with burnt sienna, but more burnt sienna than neutral tint. And look at the gorgeous brown that I can make. It's like a total, like if I'm using a totally completely different tube of paint. Now, in my experience, most of the browns, like the Van Dyck brown and etc. that are in the market, not all of them, and again, this is just my personal experience, tend to be used a little bit of black. And because of that, they put some black on the mix, and because of that, they tend to be less transparent. But wait and see when this is dry. This is a gorgeous brown color. Now let's just see what happens when we add more, like a 50-50 mix Here I'm using a mix now of about 50-50, same amount of bronze sienna as neutral tint. And as you can see, it's already getting darker. These mixes will substitute probably the need for raw umber or burnt umber, because you can darken the colors again. Look at this range of browns, but look at the luminosity they are that I still have on it. It's not getting dull, and wait till I'm going to show it to you once it's completely dry, and you will see that it has not become dull at all. And finally, I'm making the same mix from burnt sienna with neutral tint, but with a lot more neutral tint. And look at this rich dark brown, almost like a chocolate brown, that I can make with, again, with being transparent. But look how rich of a color and luminous I have. And of course, between these four over here, you can have a big range of other colors. So the possibilities are endless. No need, people, no need to buy 4 or 5 different tubes of brown when you can just have 2 tubes, one of bronze sienna and one of neutral tint. Here is one of my go-to colors, which is green, when I don't want to mix the greens, which this is Sap Green. Now, like I should told you before in the past, or like I tell my students all the time, yes, Sap Green is a pretty color, but unfortunately it's not a color that you see often in nature. For some reason, I don't know, it has a tone on it that is not quite like a leaves or things like that. So I always like to mix burnt Sap Green with other colors. Now let me show you what you can do, which is one of my favorite ways to do it, which it is with neutral tint. This is Sap Green by itself. And finally, to this mix, we're going to be adding again some neutral tint. And look, I already changed it more into an olive green. This is just about more sap than neutral tint. It's a very olive kind of color. And if you like what you see, I will appreciate that you subscribe, or if you know somebody who can benefit from these tutorials, that you can pass my video along. Look at this, more neutral tint. Look how gorgeous this is. Like this is a true olive green. And in between these two, we can have all kinds of ranges, from brighter to darker. Oh, I kind of put a little bit too much of it there all at once. Let's just dilute it. Look at all these greens that I have here. So to recap, we learned today that not all the manufacturer's colors are the same. That was a big surprise for me. But the whole point of this video was about learning about neutral tint. As you can see, with 1 tube of neutral tint and 3 or 4 main colors, you can have a big range of different combinations. It will save you money, number one, because paint is expensive. You can get the 3 primaries, a green and a bronze sienna, and you can make basically all the other combinations. Adding more, you could get more neutral tint here. You could have indigos, paint grays. Mixing these 2 plus neutral tint, you could have beautiful violets, etc., etc. Look at all the browns. Look at all these olive greens. Most importantly, all the colors are continues to be, all the mixes are transparent and luminous. So next video, I'm going to be painting flowers, and I'm going to be using neutral tint to do a lot of the mixes. It's going to be mainly in the magenta colors. I hope that you join me for that one. So what did you think? Pretty amazing, no? I hope that I convinced you to go to the store and buy yourself a little tube of neutral tint. In the meantime, let me know in the comments what you thought, if you have used it before, what you think about seeing this. Are you planning on using it? I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you in my next video.